Well, so we're back. Fantastic Four. Good morning to all of you.
No, consolidated four.
Right, consolidated four.
The band is back together, right?
God is good.
Yeah, I agree with that. God is actually good.
And you're back because we're praying for you.
Yeah,
all of a sudden your leave is over. How many weeks did you take?
It was 3 weeks.
Just 15 days.
It was 15 days. It's 3
yeah.
weeks.
With
That's a lot of
6
weeks.
days of weekends and holidays.
Yeah.
No, tomorrow is a holiday.
Yeah.
He did everything that you could imagine.
So now when someone says God is good, the response is supposed to be, if you be a means and
Really? Kojo?
Kojo is introducing that.
For a long time, we've said God is good.
And the response
And the
now
response
is
has been,
all the time.
yes.
Except when you
And all the
used to
time.
work
No,
on capital.
no. Time for us to do the newspapers, and we're sticking strictly to the newspapers.
Oh, are we?
All right, so we have to do the headlines.
What life is that?
So we're doing headlines first.
Sure, let's do that.
Daily Graphic newspaper, flags fly at Half-Mast as world mourns Kofi Annan. Engage children before rolling out child-based interventions. University of Education Winneba VC lauds government for introducing double-track system. Pastor loses family in home fire. Republic Bank meets new Bank of Ghana minimum capital requirements. Back page of the paper is some sport. ASEC send Adriana Parking out of comfort camp. That's the sport headline on the back page of the Daily Graphic newspaper. And that's it in terms of the headlines.
We can look at the headlines of the Daily Guide. It says how Kofi Annan died, tributes flow. There's a photograph of the former UN chief. Gussie joins NDC race, also on the front page of Daily Guide. And government chases 38 soldiers for cars. Pastor's wife, kids burnt to death. There's a photograph of the pastor, the wife, and their child. And the last one here says Ivor grabs Man of Courage Award, also on the front page of the Daily Guide newspaper.
Right, I have the Business and Financial Times. Quite a number of headlines here today. Rent advance to be pegged at 1 year maximum as Cabinet peruses revised rent law. Also, infrastructure deficit will affect quality. Republic Bank meets new Bank of Ghana minimum capital requirements. That's now bragging rights. So, And the banner headline is Guru Boys are back after passport booklet shortage, which is in quotes and in red, hits Accra. I guess the Business and Financial Times has some questions about this shortage. On the back page, Odotobri Rural Bank. Odotobri. Is that different from what I said?
Yeah, what you said sounded British.
What?
Sounded British.
If I say Cape Coast, Cape Coast.
Well, maybe I'm talking about the UK branch. Odotobri Rural Bank records 25% average growth in all indicators. And also on the back page, United States promotes agricultural sector improvements. And that is the Business and Financial Times.
Let's do the Finder. Rolla, you have?
Well,
let's do the Finder. Front page of the Finder. World mourns a hero. Moving tribute from world leaders pour in for Kofi Annan. Also, Republic Bank meets new Bank of Ghana minimum capital. 5 family members burned to death. President pays glowing tribute in honor of G.H. Mensah. And free senior high school double track laudable. Professor Afol Brony saying there. That's it for what's on the front page of the Finder today.
Okay, so let's go to the Statesman newspaper. It has on the front page, Minister deflates NDC propaganda on Eastern University. But the main story is on the front page of the Daily Statesman. Directors of Education endorse double track. The story is on page 2. You have a picture there of Margaret Frimpong Corey. Ghana's flags fly at Half-Mast in honor of Kofi Annan. But let's go to the Herald newspaper before we get on to the next paper. The Herald has on the front page, dark clouds hang over $500 million ECG concession. The story is coming up, we're told. Martin Amidu plays dirty politics with his office, and Apenyo Makin put his private driver, that is his own driver, on the payroll of Ghana Water. He's the chairman of Ghana Water Company.
The board.
Yes, the board. Pneumonia kills Kofi Annan at 80. Those are the stories we have.
The Ghanaian Observer reports Ghana world leaders mourn Kofi Annan, dump Mahama by bringing charges, and Gusitano joins NDC 2020 race is the question that the Ghanaian Observer is asking. An acting UEW VC endorses double-track SHS system, says policy best initiative Ghana has seen, and Obenfo's dockets forwarded to the Attorney General, also on the front page of the Ghanaian Observer. I think we can also look at the Daily Heritage. It says miners blast government over uncertainty in lifting ban on small-scale mining. NPA clears Globex Energy Limited over tax evasion. Kofi Annan passes on family pleads for privacy. And the last one here says, let's spend on the living, not the dead. It's coming from Bishop Palmer Bako.
Okay.
Ghanaian Times, and of course, it has Kofi Annan on the front page. 1938 to 2018, it says. Kofi Annan, former UN Secretary General, dead. And of course, the president and world leaders mourn him. That's also a headline. The University of Education, Winneba, backs double-track system under free SHS program. All right, 5 perish in fire outbreak in Dansuman. That's a tragic story. Tragic. I heard you talk about it earlier, and I had a knot in my throat the whole time. Just a shocking story.
Shocking story.
Shall we take one or two of these and delve into them?
Yeah, I've actually opened to page 25, the Daily Graphic newspaper. This story about engage children before rolling out child-based intervention. I think it's really important, a bit of that. In the paper, the executive director of Child Rights International, Bright Appiah, has called on the government to engage with children before rolling out social intervention programs that targets them as beneficiaries. He said half of the challenges that had characterized the educational sector in particular could have been avoided if children who were the beneficiaries had been involved in planning the programs. Mr. Appiah was speaking at this year's Child Initiative Forum held in Takrady in the Western region. There's a lot more to what he's had to say, or what he said there, but just the bit about involved children is something that we've been talking about. And this double track, we still wonder how many school children, the senior high school children, actually know about how this is actually going to work, apart from the fact that we talk about it on air and some teachers have been educated on it. How many of these children who are going to run the tracks actually understand?
Have all the teachers been educated on it?
That's a good question.
Well, they say key persons. They
but
can't
you see,
do all at the same
the
time.
important thing here is that the children, because that's what the Constitution says. Okay, it says that in everything, the interest of the child must be placed paramount.
True.
So you see, before you call the headmasters to Tamale to tell them that you're going to do double track, you have to speak to the children. You have to make sure that the children don't have any interest that you haven't thought of. Okay, because they are the ones affected by this the most. And as Mama B is saying, as you were saying as well, if at this point there are children who don't even understand how it works, then have we obeyed the Constitution?
I had a teacher back in primary who used to say that when you go to our villages and they are taking decision about driving, the adults who don't know how to drive are the ones who often sit and take the decision. But the message you wanted to put across was how a lot of the times we tend to think that adults are the ones who are smart enough to decide for the people. We don't think about the interest of those who may be affected. And I think that's the point Bright Appiah is making. And I think it doesn't take much to involve one or two, because they have an administrative structure. The students do have. They have SRCs at all regional levels through to the national level.
And,
so it should be possible.
And we've had briefings a lot from either people within the Ghana Education Service, the Ministry of Education, and even interacted maybe once or twice with the Education Minister. But we've not had a consistent programming targeted at the parents and the children. Unlike maybe we'll do for a national ID card rollout or a voter registration rollout, etc. Which I think it's sad, because we have more parents who have children who will be going to secondary schools the next academic year, but who don't know what the whole implementation process is, the timetable is, and then how their children are going to be perhaps fed, or maybe how they are going to occupy themselves in the schools, etc. And then what kind of backup plans they also need to make for those children in the absence that they'll be in for a long time or out for a long time.
Yeah.
And then I guess the media also could have been engaged better than we have been as far as that is concerned. It looks more like we are rather probing, wanting more information.
We've been pretty much spectators.
Yes.
We've been pushing for some, I mean, we push,
Yes.
yeah, and then they respond back. Oh.
Yeah.
And then
here
like
we decided to do that because I think that we made a decision. We said, look, the people are not backing down on whatever policy decision there is. This is what the reality is. So we try as much as possible to get maybe the PRO or some technocrat to come.
But even that, you don't get all the answers, all the questions answered. So of course, this is not the end of this conversation, but let me pick one more story from the Daily Graphic and then we can do the other papers. This story is in all the newspapers and it's been international headlines as well. Flags fly at Half-Mast as world mourns Kofi Annan. Not the flag flying at Half-Mast, but the fact that Kofi Annan died. That's huge international news all over. And I listened to somebody who worked really closely with him, and she said, so he was in South Africa, he was in Zimbabwe as well, just before the elections. And then he picked up either cold or something, later on got pneumonia, and that's what knocked him down. He never really recovered. Yes. But if you read the statement that
I actually saw a letter he signed, Kofi Annan signed for J.H. Mensah, writing to J.H. Mensah's son, just a few days before he passed on. And I mean, that's how the world is. I mean, but Kofi Annan was a great guy. When I was in primary, I was struggling to understand this UN thing. My teacher used to tell me that, Charlie, he's the world president. Like, I'm all world president. He's the president.
Well, he's the closest thing to it, really, UN Secretary General. And I know we'll be talking a lot more about him later on the show.
Let me share my little experience. So last year I met him.
Oh, wow.
There was an art gallery. He was donating his personal paintings.
I think I remember that.
And I had pushed. I said, I want an interview. And they said, no. Nobody's asking any questions. In fact, he's not talking to any media. I just see what you have to see and blah, 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 blah. So I
is it the one he auctioned for Infantipim or something? I think to mark...
Yeah, he donated some of his paintings to this gallery, but it had to do with his old school.
Okay. Yeah.
And then I was somewhere and they said, oh, he's about to address the media. So I said, my cameraman, let me hold the microphone, let's speak. And then one of them said, the young lady who wanted to ask a question, ask. Seriously? When I am not prepared. Don't ask me what I asked. Oh dear. That's the end of the story.
But I think he was very influential because before him, we were supposed to have had an African Boutros Ghali from Egypt. But you know, he was an Arab in a way. So he
was an Arab in a way, or he was an Arab?
Okay, he was an Arab. So outwardly or physically, there's no trace him being a black man or a sub-Saharan African, etc.
That doesn't disqualify him from being African.
Well, I do understand geographically, kind of. But you know, he was black man to occupy the position.
And his upbringing in itself, I mean, he attended schools in Ghana. In Ghana, he attended Infantipim through University. It's like a normal Ghanaian transition.
One thing I loved about him, he stayed all over abroad. All countries. I think he worked in most countries that we can ever dream of living in, and his accent never changed. People go to France, you know, Ghanaians, and they speak.
People go to the airport and their accent changes.
People live in Hungary, and they they have these accents around.
Hi guys.
And, good morning to you though, Kujomenu, a good friend Kujomenu, lives in the UK. Good morning to you.
Are you accusing him of Lapa?
No. We're just talking about the accents.
Right. We will talk more about Mr. Kofi Annan in the coming hours.
A life worth living, well lived, sorry. Now, I've got two stories here. You guys choose which one you want me to talk about. Rent advance?
Goro Boys.
Or Goro Boys?
Goro Boys.
Well, Goro Boys.
Goro Boys, eh? Yeah. All right, then. So, you remember, about a week and a half ago, there was a story we did here about the Foreign Affairs Ministry saying that they had they had a shortage of certain materials. It was just last week.
Essential materials.
Certain essential materials needed to
put together a passport.
To put together a passport. To print a passport.
Exactly. But they were dealing with only emergencies.
And because of that shortage, yes, they were dealing with emergencies. Well, because of this, Guru boys have popped up. They will tell you that, look, if you pay me, I can get you a passport within a week, and they are doing it. Okay, so question, is the shortage real? If Guru boys are able to get you a passport, is the shortage real? Second, if the Foreign Affairs Ministry says we are going to prioritize Hajj, those going on Hajj and those going for medical emergencies, then when you need a passport and you are not going on Hajj or a medical emergency, how come you are able to get it? Who in the Foreign Affairs Ministry or Passport Office, which is under the ministry, is handing out passports outside the regulation or the instruction that has been given by the ministry? Okay, but even more importantly, I'm asking myself this morning: how did we end up with a shortage? Is it money? Is it that the Foreign Affairs Ministry has not received some part of their budget required to do this? Or is it that they didn't budget for it? Somebody didn't calculate it properly? Because you shouldn't be running out. If you are running a proper stock inventory system, you shouldn't run out of anything. These materials are available on earth and for sale.
But this has also been a very familiar story.
Yeah, it has been a familiar story.
We're here almost every year.
Yeah, but you see, that is even the point. Yeah. How are we able to recycle a problem?
Well, I know that I believe 3 or 4 years ago when we had a shortage, we were told that the supplier hadn't been paid. The one who brings the passport.
So it's money.
Why should the person not be paid?
So there was this
the passports in itself are not even free to start with. I mean,
I personally know somebody who takes charge of the freight for one of the suppliers of the booklet or the papers. You know, they have these specialized security featured papers that they use. So, and at the time, what he told me was that, look, they said they don't have money for us to go and clear or to come and pay for the freight. So it was in their warehouse, you know, and they had been owing some previous years accruals and all that.
We do this to ourselves. So we've worked so hard to get rid of this Guru Boy thing. The passport office.
Who said we
did? We did.
Oh, we were very
What
close
was your
to
experience?
I think the previous passport director.
Yes.
Was the one who was.
Yes, the one who was there just before.
Grants?
Yes, Grants. Yeah, Mr. Grant did some fantastic job.
Look, I went there for a passport. I went there for a passport under his tenure. And literally, I asked for the fast track service or whatever. 48 hours.
No, but you can't use yourself as an example.
That's what I wanted to say.
Please understand what I'm saying.
None of us. None of us can ever qualify to be an example of the ordinary Ghanaian.
But I have seen how orderly that place.
You don't understand the context within which I did this. I didn't go and speak to someone who knew me. I joined a queue. When it was my turn, I went up to the lady and she did not know me. So she treated me just like everyone else in the queue.
Sure.
Okay.
And 2 days later, I came back for my passport. Okay, so those were the circumstances under which I got it. That's why I'm using it as an example.
Your name changed too? Not quite.
Well, she didn't show any sign.
When you were in the queue, did you get noticed that you were Kojo Yankson in any way?
But nobody jumped me in the queue.
Oh.
I kept my position in the queue.
There's something that I so badly want to say in connection with that.
Mama V, stop
but
that.
I don't want to say
Mama V, say it.
So let's...
Okay, stop it. No, say it. Okay, no, don't.
One thing I do know, though, there are lots of people who still don't have passports a year, 5 months, 6 months down the lane. So I don't know.
The other thing I also know is that there are also a good number of people who get the passport who are not in need of the passport.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
But either way, the passport office should be able to provide for anyone who wants to hold one.
True.
I mean, it's
you know what?
But why are we still queuing for passports elsewhere in the world? I think
you sit
even
at
in
home
the
and
UK,
apply
yes.
for it. And that's it. Anyway, I'll let you have your cake and eat it. I'll give you the other story. Rent advance to be pegged at 1 year maximum.
It won't work.
I don't get what the thinking is.
It won't work. Practically on the ground, it won't work. Somebody who has built his house in Dawulu or Dawenya or somewhere at Kuntunse, and you sit in your office and you can have all the cabinet meetings that you want in the world. It won't work.
But Kojo, more importantly, it's currently around 6 months. It's not being obeyed by anyone.
Thank you.
I
Thank you. So what we are doing is we are worsening the law when it comes to we are changing the law against the citizen.
Yeah.
Okay. So to the detriment of the citizen.
Because maybe we've realized that
because
we can't
6 months we can't enforce.
Yeah.
So 1 year dear, we can enforce. So if 6 months we couldn't enforce it, and I go to the landlord and he says, "Measure 2 years," who will come and make him take 1 year?
If you talk
when
to,
we couldn't make him take 6 months.
The landlords, they tell you that if they are taking 6 months, 3 months, they said that money is small.
They do the 1 year one currently, but it's only for
do you know
maybe
what? This thing is because
top of the range
we are
houses.
all inherently corrupt. Let's start with the landlord. He's corrupt because he has built a house and he wants to make his money back today.
Yeah,
that's greed.
It's not patient.
Oh, not all of them. Don't put all of them in that box.
I'm talking about
somebody who is taking advantage of
obviously we are talking
the
about
forces in the market
who are breaking this law.
Let's put it in proper context.
I think I disagree with you.
When I say all of us who are doing this are corrupt, that's what I mean.
But how is the person who wants to make his money back corrupt?
No, if you make an investment and you want your investment back sooner than it should accrue.
By you,
okay, no, that's what it is. It's greed. It may not be corruption, but it's greed. Okay, because you built a house.
I think it's more of wanting they need a lump sum.
No, you
perhaps
don't
I'm speaking
need
from experience, but that is what I know.
You built a house because you want it to be an investment. That investment will accrue over time. It can't accrue in 2 years. You can't make your money back in 2 years.
Well, isn't that up
in
to
5
me?
years?
Well,
it's not up to you.
No,
it's up to the law. The law says
well, anyway, we can't be on this case forever, so let's do the other stories.
We have a market. If you look at,
I didn't tell you how
if you look at the forces of demand and supply,
okay.
Please listen. We have a market. You look at the forces of demand and supply. There's more demand that is outstripping supply. So definitely, you're going to have people taking
a law.
Let's do other stories, guys. Let's do other stories.
Demand and supply does
I'm saying
details of that story
in the absence of the
implementation
in the meantime, enforcement of the law.
Joseph Akable is doing a story from the Daily Guide
because there's a demand for it.
Because there's this story
because
about
there's an enforcement.
There's a story about
that's why
a house.
That's why they don't take
advantage
advantage
about
of
a house, Roland, not about rent, but a house that got spent.
Oh,
a very sad story.
Yeah.
Page story Daily Guide. It says 5 persons were burned to death at dawn yesterday after fire gutted their house at Dansoman near the Wesley Grammar School in Accra. Yeah. We are told that the deceased, even though they are yet to be identified, we are told that the wife of one pastor, Ebenezer Atukesi of the Dansoman branch of the SDA Church, his mother-in-law, and 3 children, including a 3-week-old baby.
Yeah.
He was said to be aware as a man of God, aware attending to a camp meeting when the incident occurred. He has been recalled from the camp. The child bodies have been deposited at the Kolebu Teaching Hospital for preservation and autopsy.
Maxwell covered that story, was in our news a while ago, very detailed, and neighbors, the descriptions that they gave, the cries, the wife was calling for help.
Was wailing, calling for help.
Yeah, and the lady describes in that story Maxwell filed for us how that cry kept going down until you could hear her no more. I mean, it's really, really sad.
I don't even want to think of what happened to that poor baby.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I mean, the entire family having, is it the nephew or niece? And
so
then
2 of the children, then the mother-in-law came with a 9-year-old, and then all of them gone, just like that.
What was the cause of the fire?
We're not told.
Yeah.
So,
but at least from what we have here, it appears the firefighters, they took a bit of time to kill the fire. We are told about an hour. When they arrived, there was thick smoke. The fire service officials quoted as saying that it was within an hour that they were able to bring the fire under control. So that was when they were able to now have access to the building. And I mean, obviously, the smoke is even enough to kill.
Yeah. Usually, it does take a long time to bring a fire under control. I have a feeling by the time they got there, it may already have been too late for the victims. It's the smoke that kills you, not the flames. So it's very likely that it's very likely that by the time the fire officers got there, it may very well have been too late. A massive percentage.
So the eyewitness Kojo says that the fire started around 5 a.m. The fire service said they got a call around 6:30 a.m.
Wow.
And they moved in within 7 minutes.
Yeah. So by the time they even got the call, it was probably
the man
too
was
late
not in at 5 a.m.
No, the man had traveled. The pastor was not at home.
So sad. And a large number of home fires are caused by poor electrical wiring. I don't know if that's the case here. We'll wait and hear what the fire service tell us later. But electrical wiring, you know, only 2 companies that sell electrical cables in Ghana are selling them to the standard. That has been said by Ghana Standard Authority.
Yeah.
Only 2 companies, and they are both Ghanaian companies. I think it's Tropical Cables, and the other one will come to me later. But apart from that, all the imported cables, all of them don't meet.
Nexon's cable.
No, it's not that one. It's another one.
All right. So we mourn with the church, and you know, the church has asked that members stay strong, and I think
do
that,
one last one?
Yeah,
No?
of course.
Men's
51 minutes up to 6. We have to go online, so we're getting ready to do my JoyNews.
We'll go online. Let's go online. My
After
JoyNews.
this,
Please,
no, go ahead.
Mensa water bill liable in Capital Bank collapse. MPP. Daniel Chama, your picture is here. Page 2 of the Daily Dispatch. Good morning to you, Member of Parliament for Bantama, a member of the Finance Committee of Parliament, and then your quote here says. He's also a banker, though, owns a financial company. Says, I honestly don't know a situation where the board chairman is non-executive per se. Maybe in this case, he's trying to say that I'm the board chairman, but I'm not involved in the day-to-day administration. But that's not the work of the board chairman. The day-to-day administration, everybody knows, is in the hands of the CEO. So don't tell us, or anybody should tell us that because I'm a board chairman, I'm not involved in the day-to-day.
Are these your words?
It sounds so much like Roland not reading.
Oh, you're reading?
I'm reading so well that you think it's mine.
Oh, you're good.
He's even gone into character. You know?
You know, everybody thinks it's my words. No, it says no. He says nope. You are the board chairman, and your job is not to get into the day-to-day administration, but you are responsible for directing and making sure that people that are supposed to supervise day-to-day administration.
You shouldn't read all.
Let's
direct them to the Daily Dispatch if they're
actually control the policy.
in reading. We hear you. Thank you very much. We have your messages.
And then we know that yesterday.
JoyOnline.com.
Wait, please. In a related development.
We know that yesterday, Pastor Mensa Utabo was responding to people. So he told his members all over Ghana, including Mama View.
We watched the news, so we listened to your news a while ago.
Okay, please.
So a recap for those
let's
who
recap
didn't
so that
join
it does not say I'm being biased. When I got into character. So let's get the character of Dr. Mensa Utabo.
Okay, whilst we get that,
God is good.
That insert's ready, the message delivered to members of the IC. The one that Roland is calling for. Let's read some of your messages while we get that ready. This one from Kwabla V, who is in Pokwase, says fuel price has been increased drastically. It is destroying the work of commercial drivers. However, NPP government doesn't care about it. This is a bitter lesson to Ghanaians. Okay, all right, that's your message. This one also says, here we go. Good morning. We want to further education, but it appears we won't be able to due to our course not being approved. I think this is one of the messages I have to make time and understand before I begin to share. This one says, you guys are doing well this morning. Find out from the GES when they will be doing the recruitment of teachers for the double track, since today's 20th and September is just around the corner. David Pegan.
Are you
from
sure
Mount
that
Palm.
question is not for me?
We don't have a date, but what we do is that they actually issued a statement yesterday saying that they are not recruiting. So let nobody fool you. They are not recruiting.
That sounds like
this one says, consolidated for, please, any news on NAPCO from Innocence.
We're told that because the edu is it edu Ghana? How did you call it? The one of the models. The edu Ghana
model.
Is it
education model?
Education Ghana model as part of NAPCO has attracted a lot more people. It's possible we'll quickly get the 9,000 or so we need for.
Is this facts you're sharing?
This one says assisting them, not full-time teachers.
This one says the
world
world has
for education service told me
the world has indeed lost an illustrious son. Kofi Annan, rest in perfect peace. Fare thee well. This one says it's very interesting when men who should respect the people who believe and follow them, they rather try to beat people's intelligence by hiding behind religion. How can I answer the following three questions as a follower? Man, I learned your pastor contributed to the collapse of the Capital Bank. God is good. 2, did he pick 620 actually million cedis from the bank? God is good. Why should a man of God do that? Again, God is good.
This character. Sounds like the way Mama View will read.
Keep reading, keep reading.
It sounds like the way Mama View will read. Okay, Bambaki. I didn't know.
I should have given this to Kojo to read. This is exactly This is exactly what he would like to read. And this one says, last Friday, the people of a Futu traditional area, as for the first time over 25 years, have now witnessed an MOU to take charge of its social responsibility that has been neglected for years. Okay. Alex Kwachi Mensa, University of Education, Winneba, sending that message. This one says, Mr. Annan, your soul has gone, but your name cannot be forgotten for the good work you have done for Mother Ghana and the world at large. Rest in peace. His title, the first name, is it Busumuru? Okay. Kofi Annan is from Tofik in Wongo, a town under Waliwale municipality.
He wrote that?
Yeah. Wow. He's educated me, and I like that very much, because usually when we hear some of the names, we actually have no idea where they are. Yeah. Okay. Let's do online quickly, and then we'll finish off with some of your messages.
Oh. Okay, then. Ghana must champion.
God is good in set is not coming. Okay, let's do Ghana must champion Kofi.
Ghana must champion Kofi Annan's legacy. Dr. Inju Danso says this. More details on myjoyonline.com. Also, Passion Air welcomes aircraft to begin domestic operations. And this is one of a number of carriers that have sought a license to do some domestic flights. Let's see if the system it allows the prices to come down. Josephine Ananankoma is EcoBank's new group executive. You know who this is, right? This is Ace's wife. And she was originally tapped for Bank of Ghana, but I believe that didn't materialize. I don't think she was interested, but she's definitely group executive now for EcoBank. All right. So will she be responsible for the day-to-day activities? All right. No Ronaldo, no fans. Real Madrid have the lowest La Liga attendance in 10 years. My God, what a difference a man makes. Also, on the myjoyonline.com, why men matter in the fight for equity. I am for women empowerment. I am for equity. I'm not a feminist. That's what someone is saying. We'll see. Okay, DVLA sets October 1 to begin recertifying customized number plates. And also,
I don't understand that story.
Okay, so you know customized number plates.
Yeah.
Number 1 and so forth. Ibra 1.
Ibra 1. Kojo 1.
Yeah,
God is good 1.
Yeah, they say some people fake it.
Mine will be God is good.
Some people go through third parties and they don't get it from the DVLA.
So they are saying, look, they are going to issue electronic registration and documentation for them, so that you know you've got the right thing when you're.
What does it mean? Does it mean that the police can verify on the road somewhere in Yamransa or someplace? That's the whole point.
So they are saying that not so many of them, fortunately, are in the system. Not everybody gets the opportunity to use a special number plates. So this can be quickly
allowed it to be infiltrated that way.
Thank you. Good question. Good question. Yeah.
Yeah. Also, broadband chamber calls for better spectrum pricing policies.
Hang on, we've got a broadband chamber.
Apparently we do
and
now.
And then the telecom chamber is doing what? Isn't it all about
There's a broadband communications chamber. We know about the telecoms chamber.
But I think, okay.
There's a broadband chamber.
There's a broadband chamber.
We already have 5G around the world though, but
look, these chambers, they pop up to serve an industry. Okay. So if the industry says we need a chamber.
But it's an advocacy front.
Okay, video. I lived with 3 snakes at home. Diabolo man. Oh my God, that is just sensational. I love this guy, by the way. Bob Smith, I'm a big fan of his. And he was on Joy with Sammy Forson last Friday. Right, there we go.
Okay, lots of other stories on the page.
Including this one. Unibank shareholders criticize Bank of Ghana and cite KPMG for conflict of interest. This is something we need to do a bit more work on. We need to speak more to some of these shareholders and directors and get them to speak. You know, that's the difficulty. When they don't want to speak, it gets difficult to get a full,
well, some of them are businessmen. They have other interests in some other sectors. They don't want to speak. Yes,
but
we
also don't want to be misled. So if indeed they're saying that the KPMG report.
So KPMG issued a report on Unibank. Now KPMG, recall, had been appointed as receiver on Unibank. So their argument is that it's conflict of interest. So because they are being paid to do work as receivers already, and they've again been paid to issue reports they may want to do the bidding of BOG, and that is why they wrote to KPMG asking for a copy of the report to respond to it, and they were not given the report. So that is their problem.
Imagine that. Yes, and KPMG puts a massive disclaimer on the report, the one that, well, the version we've seen, the leaked one that we've seen.
You're saying it's not theirs?
I don't know if it is, but that's the point. That's a leaked document. That's the nature of a leaked document.
They are saying that
sure.
before it goes to an individual, they need to approve that.
Indeed, and they say that they haven't done what it takes to make this an audit, you know, because they haven't got the responses of those involved.
Let's finish off with some of your messages. Efo Komalavi in Nigeria says, so Mamavi, the only verbal response Dr. Pastor Chairman Otebel can give out to his congregation is good, is good.
But
I
isn't
would
God
read
good?
like the you can't think far, but yeah, that's what it is. So
God is good.
Take it. He wasn't speaking to you, by the way. Are you a member of Christ Temple?
Why did he add
this one says,
so when you go out there. So what did he mean by when you go out there?
I didn't get my passport at all after.
No passport reading. No passport reading. What did he mean that go out there?
To you?
He said go out there.
What do you mean?
I said he was speaking to his congregation.
Really? His sermons are broadcast to the world.
Yeah,
so
it's a choice.
Who is
so
his
you decide to.
So who is his
but he
congregation?
was speaking to the church and said that's
So
that's
if I love Otava and I'm watching on YouTube,
then you are not his congregation.
Hey,
when they
you are defining congregation now.
Take whatever you want to take. I will read this before we go. This one says,
read the passport.
I didn't get my passport
yes, but are you
at all after application? They told me to reapply.
God is good.
Are you saying that anybody who is watching us?
Listen, that's it.
Are you saying anybody who is watching us is not our audience? Hey,
you are distracting.
This message is important too.
They're distracting.
They said Kojo probably caught the eye of the lady. That is why he didn't have any difficulty. That's the message.
Yeah. Okay, we have to make way for sport. Lots of talking points. Premier League, but our eye is in Nigeria, not on Nigeria, in Nigeria, because they've got just some hours to go, if not 3 or 2. To try and beat that FIFA deadline.
Yeah. It's 8 o'clock there now, so they've got about 3 hours.
Theirs is more of the top.
11.
The top. So details in sports. We'll give you the latest updates. And then our own matter as well. Okay, that's it. I am glad we're not talking Manchester United. Stay with us. We've got sports.
God is good. We'll be right back.